June is Pride Month, and with about a week left this month, there are still plenty of events happening throughout our area to celebrate.
And Sedona's here to tell us about some allies who put on these events regularly and attend them, and she shared more on their mission. Sedona.
Yeah, Pride events often bring a lot of people together, and over the years, different organizations have worked to provide attendees with a sense of security while also hoping to make them feel both seen and loved.
Being an ally, it's something we hear often, but it's the actions following that phrase that can hold a lot of power.
It's important for me to be visible, to stand up and say, I'm with you and I support you and I love you just as you are.
For us, it's important that we help the community have peaceful events.
Silent Witness Peacekeepers and Free Mom Hugs Pennsylvania are just two of the organizations here in the Commonwealth showcasing their allyship to the LGBTQIA plus community and beyond.
The community is under a lot of pressure right now. So we not only want them to feel the hug on the day, but we want them to be able to take the hug with them.
Free Mom Hugs is a national organization, with Pennsylvania being one of its biggest and most active chapters. Their mission is to provide love and support at Pride events and throughout the region, offering a hug to anyone that wants one.
Especially for older people whose parents either weren't supportive or maybe whose parents are gone now. Getting a mom hug is a very powerful thing.
And as you may hear this group full of cheers from inside a Pride gathering, the Silent Witness Peacekeepers can be seen on the outside, holding their rainbow umbrellas, shielding people from protesters.
Protesters pick on us. They come to us, they yell and scream at us, they tell us we're worthy of death, and then they ignore members of the LGBTQ plus community. And so we're taking on that vitriol so that members of the community can go into their event and have a good and peaceful day.
The local organization has been quietly protecting Pride events for 20 years.
If there are any people getting upset, excited, angry, we are trained in de-escalation.
Their mission is to peacefully ease conflicts among protesters.
We've trained over 2,000 peacekeepers over the last 20 years. We regularly train about 100 new ones per year.
It's a difficult job that's solely volunteer-based. And the reason they do it?
It's really hard to be a member of a minority and feel as though you're standing alone.
To make sure those within the LGBTQIA plus community know they're never on their own. So, to these organizations, being an ally means showing up and meeting people where they are.
It's not about being any particular type of person, who you love. It's about being allowed to be who you are in your own skin. And we believe that every individual knows who they are better than anybody else does.
Both Free Mom Hugs PA and Silent Witness Peacekeepers are always looking for volunteers to help out at these Pride events. We have more details about the organizations at fox43.com.
I love the hug portion of it all.
Yeah.
I like that part a lot.
Just a sweet addition.
And like we said, just a couple more days left in Pride Month, so a couple more events going on. You can check those out. As Pride Month comes to a close, questions remain whether Pope Leo will continue the Catholic Church's outreach efforts with the LGBTQ community. Fox 43's Matt Kleinden spoke with one LGBTQ Catholic organization about whether the new pope will follow in Pope Francis's footsteps.
As the papal conclave gathered in Rome, LGBTQ Catholics waited with hope and trepidation for the white smoke to appear.
His election to Pope was a surprise. He was not in the top contenders that many people or thought pieces had said.
2 months into Pope Leo's papacy, Catholics around the world are waiting to see how he will address LGBTQ issues. His predecessor, Pope Francis, previously expanded the church's outreach to the LGBTQ community and allowed for the blessing of same-sex couples. Kate Carroll, who runs the LGBTQ Catholic organization Dignity Philadelphia, says Pope Francis's actions went a long way in making the church more accepting.
To hear the leader of the institutional Catholic Church say, "Who am I to judge?" I think is a very clear message that everyone is welcome.
Since his election, Pope Leo has not spoken much about his views on LGBTQ issues, apart from a May 16th speech where he stated that family is based on a union between a man and a woman. Carol says she's hopeful that Pope Leo will follow in Francis's footsteps in reaching out to marginalized groups.
It does seem like Pope Leo will continue this commitment to synodality, which in other terms, is the collaboration and participation in the church, specifically with the whole people of God. That includes queer people, that includes trans people, that includes unhoused people.
Advocates say they are patiently waiting to see how Pope Leo plans to guide the Catholic Church forward in the coming years.
We will think critically and form our own thoughts and opinions about what he shares and says, whether that's specifically about the LGBTQ plus community or about other issues.
Fox 43 reached out to the Diocese of Harrisburg for an interview on the story. However, they declined to comment. Matt Kleinden's Fox 43 News.
Members of the LGBTQ community are celebrating Pride Month in June. However, some find themselves concerned about the future. Fox 43's James Corrigan tells us how local organizations say planned cuts to mental health and suicide prevention programs will shift the burden to them.
June is a time for Pennsylvania's LGBTQ community to celebrate their identities and show their pride. But hanging over Pride Month is an air of uncertainty for the community as federal funding cuts loom for key programs.
It's putting a lot of extra stress in areas that we're not trained to do, unfortunately.
Craig Kazda from Lancaster Pride says the burden to make up for the key services will now fall to local organizations like his. The cuts include funding for HIV programs, grants to investigate hate crimes against the community, and just last week, the announcement that the 988 suicide prevention hotline for LGBTQ people will be shut down in July.
This was a service that existed, that was operational, that was serving a community need, and felt like there was no need to wind that down.
We have a lot of kids showing up in the emergency rooms or reaching out for help because they don't know what else to do and they become suicidal.
Brenda Startoni co-chairs the Lebanon County Suicide Prevention Task Force and says the atmosphere of fear that many in the community are feeling due to a renewed backlash against them will only increase the need for mental health services.
I expect that mental health in general will increase, and the LGBTQ population isn't going away, so the resources are just going to have to come from somewhere, and that's from the nonprofits.
Those nonprofits say they find themselves with little choice but to band together to try and fill the gaps in order to serve a hurting community.
Lebanon County has a phenomenal group of nonprofits that are here showing up every day to serve those people and those populations, and they're going to continue to be here every day whether there's funding or not.
Filling the gaps to make feeling proud go from just 1 month to a way of living. James Corrigan, Fox 43 News.
In recognition of Pride Month, Fox 43 is highlighting small businesses and people making big impacts for inclusion in their communities. Fox 43's Robert Stover visited Karma in Harrisburg and shares how the business is working to become a prominent fixture for the LGBTQ community.
Karma. It's defined as a force considered as affecting the events of one's life by Merriam-Webster.
I am an artist at heart.
For Nelson Mina, karma means family.
I scream to my team, guys, we're 10 minutes away from opening. Make it happen.
That's how Mina felt in November, right before Karma opened its doors for the first time. Located on North 3rd Street in Harrisburg, the business opened in the same building as Stallions Entertainment Complex. Although Mina wants to continue honoring the history of Stallions,
I've heard a lot of people saying that they consider that place home.
Karma is constantly looking to the future.
There's something that we must remind ourselves when it comes to pride. It's our story, where we came from, all the battles and hardships we actually had to achieve in order to be where we are.
As it stands, Karma is the largest LGBTQIA+ event venue in central Pennsylvania, which makes it the ideal space for entertainers.
I love it.
Like Madam D.
I love to entertain people. I love to make people laugh, think, cry. You know, I just love to entertain.
Madam D is the creator of Drag Arena, held bi-weekly at Karma.
We feel very welcomed here and very safe.
That's the word, safety. It's something Bobby Stevenson takes very seriously.
My favorite question to ask is like, have we been to Karma yet? And they're like, oh no, this is my first time. And my favorite thing to tell them is, you're gonna enjoy it.
Stevenson describes himself as a man of many talents. Arguably, his biggest responsibility is making sure everyone feels welcome.
The reason behind our name is that, karma. It's the energy that you want to give. You step foot in here and you want to feel accepted, that's what you're gonna get. You're gonna feel accepted.
A feeling exemplified during Pride Month.
The Karma does not care about your gender identity, your sexual preferences, fashion choices, or your pronouns. It's nothing like that. We're just human.
Karma has regular and special events available all month long.
In Harrisburg, Robert Stover, Fox 43 News.
As Pride Month comes to a close, Fox 43 continues to spotlight stories from all throughout South Central Pennsylvania. Fox 43's Jackie DeTore shares how one filmmaker is working to tell stories of joy about the LGBTQ+ community in Lancaster.
It all started with a chance meeting on social media.
I originally found Brady through a TikTok that said, "I'm learning to love my hometown." I'm from Pennsylvania as well, and many times it felt more like a beautiful prison than it did feel like a place to grow. And so it really resonated with me.
Colleen Seam Brady is the director of Amish Country Queer, an award-winning short film that explores LGBTQ life in Lancaster. The film focuses on Brady Pappas, a photographer who documents the lively nightlife and queer community in the city.
Finding your people and finding your community is also wonderful. And it's like these painful stories are valid, but they take up most of the media landscape. So can we bring some of that representation when it comes to joy?
Colleen did not grow up in the area and admits that farm country can be seen as a religious and conservative place and not somewhere you would expect to find a growing queer community.
We've always existed and we're going to continue to exist, and we can coexist and thrive. Let's show everyone that queer people and all people can exist anywhere, even in the smallest towns.
They say the film also takes on another assumption, that queer people from small towns or conservative areas can only find their community after they leave.
This is more of a story about, like, what if you do stay? What can you build a home here? Like, why do you need to be driven out of a place that you want to call home?
Amish Country Queer won Best Documentary at this year's Jim Thorpe Independent Film Festival, and the crew says the support they've received has been the most gratifying.
When I signed on this project, I really didn't think that we were doing anything groundbreaking or big. They tell us how much this means to them and how important it really is. And it's really heartwarming to know that whatever you're doing is resonating with people.
Colleen says they hope to keep challenging assumptions about the rural LGBTQ community.
I might be taking Brady's quote, but I think a part of that is this tenacious spirit to make something beautiful out of the things that once hurt us.
Jackie DeTore, Fox 43 News.
Colleen is currently raising money to fund production into a feature film. For more information and a link to those fundraising efforts, just head to fox43.com.